You cannot hide.
The Dark Hand, the Dark Lord, the Shadow, the Deceiver, and many more. These are the names for the renowned bad guy Sauron. Little of him is seen in the Hobbit trilogy. Then there is the Great Eye. Sauron's form as a lidless eye of fire instills fear across all Middle-earth throughout the Third Age. Everyone knows a story is only as good as its villain. So who is Sauron? What were the extent of his powers? Were his origins as evil as the dark times he brought upon Middle-earth? Today on Fantasy Archive, we dig deep into Sauron's history and his journey to become the Lord of the Rings. In the beginning, Sauron was an untainted and orderly mayor called Mairon. He loved order and perfection, but unfortunately ended up being seduced by the original First Dark Lord and Valar, Morgoth. He wanted to have power like Morgoth. If he did, everyone would follow his orders. Mairon, the Admirable, loved order and perfection so badly, he would do anything to get his way. This is when Mairon's fate took the dreaded turn toward evil. Mairon became Sauron, a perfectionist gone bad. Once upon the years of the lamps lived a pure and powerful spiritual being, or mayor called Mairon. Other mayors included Gandalf and Saruman. The mayors were primordial spirits created by the Valar, who were even stronger spiritual beings to help shape Middle-earth. Mairon served the Smith Valar, Valar Aule, and learned to be a master craftsman and skillful smith. Mairon loved order and hated excesses. He saw Middle-earth as a machine that wasn't working properly, parts missing or arranged in the wrong order. He wanted control to get the machine working again. Soon he fell into the radar of Melkor, a powerful, rebellious Valar. Now Melkor was similar to Lucifer, a fallen angel. He was very powerful, and just as all creations that wield immense power, he grew ambitious. He was envious of his creator, the father of all, Ilúvatar, for only he could create life. Melkor couldn't have this power and kept challenging Ilúvatar with melodies of his own. He went down a path of rebellion and destruction, eventually earning his name Morgoth. Morgoth has found a suitable follower and loyal servant in Mairon. Although they had different motivations, Mairon stayed true to the Dark Lord as his lieutenant, and Sauron was born. Sauron kept up appearances and pretended to be loyal to the Valar while spying on them from Morgoth. Once Morgoth set up his base in Middle-earth, Sauron openly pledged his allegiance to him. While Morgoth set out to conquer Middle-earth and build fortresses, Sauron wanted to control the minds and will of the inhabitants of Middle-earth. Sauron became Morgoth's most trusted servant, the yin to his yang. Sauron was a mayor with a twisted vision. Though Tolkien never described Sauron's physical traits, we know he could shapeshift into different forms. When he became Morgoth's servant, he took a form bigger than human stature, yet not giant. He had daunting eyes and appeared as malice and hatred incarnate. He was known to take the shape of a werewolf, a serpent, and even alluring creatures, taking various names throughout the ages. As the mightiest of the Maya, Sauron acquired much knowledge about the world's substances and how to use them. He was extremely well versed in the powers of manipulation, deception, and disguise to defeat his foes. Additionally, Sauron was a powerful sorcerer capable of necromancy among other forms of dark magic. In the First Age, Sauron ruled the fortress of Angband, captured the elven fortress of Tol Sirion, which he renamed to Tol Ngoroth, the Isle of the Werewolves. In this fortress he imprisoned the elven king Finrod and 11 elves. Finrod dies, mortally wounded by a wolf, but Sauron is later defeated by his rescuers in his werewolf form. Then Sauron transforms into a vampire and fades into secrecy. Then came the War of Wrath, the greatest battle in the First Age. Morgoth was overcome and thrown into the Timeless Void, aka space, by the Valar. Sauron emerges once again when Morgoth is defeated. Instead of returning to Valinor for judgment, he goes to Middle-earth, hiding in Mordor. It was a place Morgoth had prepared well in advance for his second-in-command. Sauron built his Tower of Barad-dûr in Mordor, which would be his stronghold for ages to come. In the early years of the Second Age, Sauron lay dormant. During this time, he created huge armies of orcs and trolls. He also enslaved men. It was no secret that the elves were the Valar's favorite. Unlike the elves, men were not allowed to enter the lands of Valinor. Sauron found the fertile ground to sow seeds of discord, and he used this to influence men with delusions of power and wealth, even promising them immortality. Sauron's main intent was to re-establish Mordor, but drunk on power, he now desired to conquer Middle-earth. For this, he took up the fair and handsome form of an elf, Anatar, which meant Lord of Gifts. Anatar befriended the elves and impressed them with his magic and craftsmanship to lure them in and earn their trust. All the elves except for Galadriel and Elrond fell for his evil snare. Sauron manipulated the elves of Eregion, like Celebrimbor, to create the rings of power under his evil presence. He distributed them among all the races, elves, dwarves, and men. In secret, Sauron forged the One Ring at the Mountain of Doom. Using the magic and power of the One Ring, he can control all the owners of the rings across all races to his will. Once Sauron wore his ring, the elves realized his treachery and removed them. The dwarves seemed to be immune to its power, but the 9 men who wore it became Nazguls, Sauron's greatest and most trusted servants. Sauron demands the rings be returned and declares war on the elves, but he is defeated by the Numenor king and is forced to retreat to Mordor. In Mordor, Sauron declares himself to be the king of men, which does not go well for the Númenóreans, who come after him and ultimately take him hostage. At Númenor, Sauron is imprisoned. Sauron used this opportunity to corrupt Númenor from within. Númenóreans were loyal to their king and the Valars, but their greatest fear was death. Death was something that their counterpart elves did not have to worry about. Sauron used this to his advantage. He increased their fear of the Grim Reaper. Eventually, he persuaded the Númenórean king, Ar-Pharazôn, to invade Valinor to attain immortality. However, it backfired and resulted in the sinking of Aman, where Valinor, home of the Valar, was located. Sauron drowns and loses his ability to have a fair form. His spirit flees to Mordor, again begins to rebuild his strength and army. Sadly for him, his efforts would once again be in vain when he is defeated in the Battle of Dagorland. Isildur, the heir of Elendil, cuts off Sauron's finger that had the One Ring. Isildur, however, does not destroy the ring. He is killed by orcs, and the ring is lost. Yet Sauron remains, as the ring sustains Sauron's spirit. Come the Third Age, and Sauron has regained his strength in the fortress of Dol Guldur. He is now known as the Necromancer, and adopts the form of the Eye. Sauron doesn't make appearances. Instead, he uses the Nazguls and other emissaries in his relentless search for the One Ring. This led to the War of the Ring, where the One Ring was finally destroyed, and so was Sauron's spirit. This was Sauron's end. Over the ages, we saw Sauron grow from a traitor who learned the dark secrets from Morgoth into the new Dark Lord wielding a huge army. What we didn't see coming is the 2 gentle and brave little hobbits would be the ones to destroy thousands of years of Sauron's tyranny.